Do, 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 do. Welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry. So aside of the group of the one group of the five that are going to be sacrificed by Kinzo for the resume of the ceremony, we are on which chapter? Yeah, chapter 14, where Anji is now having a conversation with Nanjo's son, and getting more information of the such. So we knew of the 8-digit code, in which I didn't know. I thought it was like a phone number, but no, apparently it's a PIN number for the safe. Um, yeah, there is a little quote unquote secret stash of a shitload of money at a high end bank. Although So Nanja's son was able to see it, but he decided to be like, nah, so he puts it away and never touches it again. Anji wants to borrow it to see if she can actually like. I don't know what she gonna use when quote unquote borrow, but it's something maybe she can actually do some sort of negotiation later on. But I don't know. Can't really theorize anything sophisticated, to be quite honest. Anyway, let's continue. The modus, whatever, modus operandi for the sender and recipient was the same as Nanjo's son. The sender was made out to be Kumasawa's son, and the recipient was Kumasawa Chiya. Oh, oh god, it's more side NPCs. And the destination address was in the Okinawa Prefecture, Yaeyama County, Yonaguni City, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yonaguni Island was at the westernmost tip of Japan, and the lot name was the exact same sequential number that had apparently been chosen without much care. Now it was certain this envelope was definitely sent with the goal of having it be returned to the sender. Its contents were exactly the same: a letter with the pin and the bank's main branch written on it, a magnetic card, a key with an attached number plate. The inscription on the number plate was A113, the number right after the one on the key that had been sent to Nanjo. Most likely, inside the vault was the same kind of duralumin case, packed with 100 million yen in cash.
死んだお袋がメイドから送ってきたような気がしてね。
Oh god, we're going. Oh man. I quite man, I'm amazed that Anji has to sit through all this.
中身もよくわからんし、薄気味悪いんで、ずっとほったらかしにしてて、今日まですっかり忘れてたんですわ。
This guy is a little big and goofy looking though.
お嬢さんはこれが何かご存知なんですかね？ひょっとして、あんたんとこにも同じものが？
どうしたんです？エンジ様。ウリュウ、頭痛？ごめん。頭が痛い。刺さってる。知っている。
What does she know?
知ってるって何を？
That's what I want to know.
まさかこの封筒、エンジ様のところにも？
I've remembered. A strange envelope was also sent to me 12 years ago, after losing my entire family. I was depressed, but it was a really strange thing to come in the mail, so I still had a faint memory of it. It was a strange letter, which I had no memory of sending, but which had me as the sender. I forget the destination address, but the named recipient had been Ushiromiya Rudolph, my father. I remember how disturbed I was when I got a letter I thought was from father, opened up, and found a key in a card that I didn't really understand. I felt let down and threw it away somewhere, I think. Where did I put that envelope? I probably lost it somewhere in the chaos that followed. By now, I have no way of checking its contents. However, I have a general idea. I'm sure the contents were the same. Without a doubt, there had been a key, a card, and a note with a pin inside the envelope. Wait, so she was sent the same envelope of the same contents within it 12 years ago to her. Inside the envelope. That's amusing.
これは何のつもりよ。あいつは全ての遺族にこんなふざけた金をばらまいたというの？死んだ後も愚弄するなんて許せない。
Even if it's Beatrice or like some former cultist of Beatrice, or maybe like a surviving cultist or whatever. I bet they just sent to them and be like, sure, hey, you know, all of the rest of your almost the rest of your family are dead, so surely you also want the money the rest of yourself, right?
Uryu, Ange.
Sakutaro acted nervously. As I looked at his worrying face, my agitation began to cool off bit by bit.
ごめんなさい。ベアトリーチェ憎しは今に始まったことじゃないわ。あの6歳の日にもうすでにあの魔女と縁があったことに驚きと怒りを感じただけよ。この12年間、エンジェ様はずっとベアトリーチェ様の呪縛にとらわれてきた。
That's 2/3 of her current life used up.
これがそのまさに呪縛の証となるのかもしれません。ですがどうかしっかりそれを打ち破るための旅でもあるはずです。
Yeah, that's one part of it.
そうね。頭に血を上らせたって何の役にも立たないわ。
No shit.
冷静に考えなくちゃ。これはどういうことなの？遺族に1億円をばらまく意味は何？挑発だとでも言うの？
Is she trying to provoke us, I wonder?
ベアトリーチェめ。エンジェ、落ち着いて。ウリュウ。
As Sakutaro buried his head in my stomach, he urged me to stay calm. I took another deep breath and started thinking.
この封筒の送付はつまり、ベアトリーチェによる事件の計画性を裏付けるものかしら。
I guess that's one way to put it.
消印は親族会議の直前。そしてわざと時間をかけて返送されてくるように仕組まれている。事件の後に届くようにしたかったということかな。うん、そうなるわ。でも少し疑問もあるの。なぜこんな不確実な方法で？ 不確実？ええ。だって、何日で郵便が戻ってくるかなんて、事前には想像もできないじゃない。郵送先の郵便局が調査し、送付先不明と判断し返送するまでの期間なんて、普通は想像もできない。
At least there's doing like a recipient must have known and return it.
そういえばそうだね。
What? So so the envelope being sent to like, the three that, Ange, and not only Ange, but the Nanja's son and Kumasawa's son, and really some sort of major, some sort of mind game.
ちゃんと到着の期日を決めて、そういう郵便で出した方が確実なのにね。うりゅう。
まあでも、前日に投函したんなら、どんなに早く戻ってきても、きっと月曜日以降の到着になったでしょうし、死者からの手紙を気取りたかったんじゃないかしら。
The letter from the dead?
死者からの手紙か。確かにね。あれは驚くし、嫌な気持ちになるわよ。死んだ家族の名前が表に大きく書かれている郵便物が、物々しい付箋付きで郵便受けに放り込まれているんだから。でも、私は何か腑に落ちないわ。私だったら、期日指定郵便にする。ひょっとしたら、想定しない日に届くかもしれないという不安定さが、私にはどうしても理解できないの。
I don't know how they can send like a letter to you when a letter from the dead? How does it? I'm kind of confused of how this works. Unless the letter from the dead is passed on to the one by the ones. Oh, like really, I really don't want to twist it any further, honestly.
うりゅう。でも、確かにそういうの、ベアトらしいかなって思う。
え？あなた、ベアトのことわかるの？
ちょっとしかお話ししたことないけど。
Just a little.
でも、ベアトならこういうことをするかなってのが、なんとなくわかるの。マモンもなんとなく想像がつかない？ベアトってこういういたずら好きだよね。
確かにそうかも。ベアドリージュ様なら、死者からの手紙みたいな悪質ないたずらはやりかねないと思います。
それだけじゃなくて、絶対確実な方法じゃなくて、ちょっぴり不確実な方法の方をベアトリーチェは面白がるの。
An uncertain method instead of the one that is absolutely certain.
不確実な方法を面白がる？
Uncertain methods more interesting than the obvious. I remembered Maria One-chan's diary. It had described playing with Beatrice very often. During those times, Beato sometimes played pranks on the adult relatives with Maria, but those pranks always had a touch of witch aesthetics, which was that they were more interesting when they were uncertain. One day, Maria One-chan and Beato decided to use a wind-up minicar she had brought for a prank. It was a popular toy at the time, and if you made the minicar back up, it would wind up the spring in the tires, and when you let go, it would race forwards. Oh yeah, I remember stuff like that. It would race forwards. They had wound up that minicar and set it behind a milk jug. In other words, the prank was that if you lifted the milk jug, the minicar would jump forwards and surprise whoever did it. Hoping that someone would get caught in this prank, One-chan and Beato had watched the adults from the shadows for their whole tea time. They were looking forward to seeing someone get caught by it, but no one moved the trapped milk jug, and the trap ended in a misfire. When One-chan had then muttered, "We should have put it somewhere where it would have definitely caught someone," Beato apparently said this. She said, "The most interesting and thrilling traps are those where you don't know who will get caught, or even if anyone will get caught at all." Well, that's one way to put the suspense to it, ain't it? It's probably true that you wouldn't get this kind of incitement from a trap that would certainly go off. Similar accounts occurred in multiple places, making it impossible to guess that the witch called Beatrice had a fickle character and loved a random thrill. A fickle person is very hard to deal with. I can't spin the chessboard around to find out what that witch from 12 years ago was planning. As Ange examined these, her gaze darted from place to place. Then she suddenly showed interest in the wall. There, several framed pictures were hung. Many of them were commemorative photos from when the relatives of the Kumasawa family gathered or went somewhere to play, and Kumasawa was in several. And she still wore a smile that made it so you could almost hear her light-hearted ho 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 laugh. Well, she's definitely the grandma of the servants. Ain't this something? It's part of my distant memory, but I definitely remember that she was this sort of cheerful old lady.
熊沢さんは事件の直前に変わった様子はありましたか？
いやー、いつも通りに見えたな。
Really?
親族会議はピリピリするから辛い辛いと漏らすのはいつものことでしたし。
I mean, well, no kidding. Quote unquote family conference?
これは？
Question mark. Among the several frames, there was one that had something other than a picture of people in it. It was a picture of an enlarged relief of a door from a Western-style house or something. You couldn't see any interesting subject in particular, which actually bugged me a bit as I wondered why anyone had gone to all the trouble of taking it. As I got closer, I realized that some characters had been written with a pen.
ああ、それはお袋の形見分けでもらってきた写真ですわ。
The heck is that noise? Grimoire? Communication booklet. Oh, I already saw this shit. A photo?
多分例の黄金伝説に関係したやつではないかと。
Oh, hold on. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Had to get a little bit more water while at it. Yeah. Apparently, Ange was able to find a photo that is me, so you know, maybe there's some bit more of a we can find some more answers. Who knows? The photo got when mother's belongings were distributed. Something to do with the legend of the gold.
魔女の碑文ですか？10トンの黄金の隠し場所を示すと噂される。熊沢さんも挑んでおられたんですね。でもこれは碑文じゃない。初めて見るものです。
There was an arc above the Western-style door, and that's where the relief was. English words were engraved there, and that seemed to be what the picture was focused on. The pen writing appeared to be a translation into Japanese.
この扉は1000兆分の1の確率でしか開かない。
Quadrillion to 1.
あなたは1000兆分の1の確率でしか祝福されない。
Alright. I think I remember that part. I think it was something to do with the second episode, I believe. I think. I was...
知らないわ。こんな文章、碑文にもお姉ちゃんの日記にも出てこない。
お袋の遺品の中に碑文の謎解きに挑戦してると思われる写真やノートが結構出てきたんですわ。お袋も案外そういうのが好きだったんだな。なんでも10トンの金塊が隠されてたって噂だ。そりゃあお袋も夢中になるはずですわ。
In both Maria Onechan's diary and in her grimoire, there was a description of the witch's epitaph. It had talked about how it was a ceremony to open the door to the Golden Land, Beatrice's resurrection ceremony, Beatrice's succession ceremony. That's a bit of a mouthful. On and on. Maybe the most interesting one was the last part, about it being a succession ceremony. Yeah. That could be the one interesting part. According to Beatrice, if you were able to solve the witch's epitaph, you would receive not only the 10 tons of gold and the Ushiromiya family inheritance, but her own magical power and name, as well as the title of the Golden Witch. Among the Ushiromiya family household at the time, the witch's epitaph was thought of as a difficult quiz, which the family head, Kinzo, had arranged for to choose his successor. But with the mariage sorcière interpretation, the questioner was Beatrice herself, and she had posed the question how to choose her successor. There were slight discrepancies in the details of the two interpretations. Either way, its ominous contents brought to mind a bloody serial murder, and both of the message bottles drew a tale of a crime following that pattern. If I could solve the witch's epitaph now, 12 years later, I wonder if I could expose some plot made back then. I tried to solve it many times myself, but I never did have a clue what it meant. It seems that many witch... Really, it seems that many witch hunters tried as well. Wicked witch hunters, man. It sounds like it's a little bit of a meme, really. I also found theories like the La Plata theory and the Nora theory in certain books. Oh god, I'm gonna butcher that one again too. In certain books. However, neither of those theories were conclusive.
他にも資料が？
あると思うけど、兄弟で適当に分けたからな。
Gee, I wonder how many siblings you have.
誰が何を持ってるやらさっぱりですわ。申し訳ない。
What, do we gotta visit every one of you? Or one of yours?
この熊沢さんが撮影した英文だけ読むと、めったに開かれない開かずの扉という印象を受ける。でも、これは屋敷のどこかしら。光の具合から屋外みたいだけど。熊沢さんは、この中にその黄金が隠されていると睨んでたのかしら。
さあ。いずれにせよ、六軒島の屋敷のどこかでしょうな。お袋の預金口座には、残念だが黄金を発見したと思えるようなお金は入ってませんでしたよ。 さすがに見つからんかったんでしょうな。
Yeah, I probably think it's because she doesn't really care about the whole wealth thing. The Golden Witch Beatrice gave 10 tons of gold to Kinzo, which meant that the witch was the true owner of the gold. Beatrice was the owner of all the vast fortune of the Ushiromiya family. The witch holding this vast wealth had massacred the humans on Rokkenjima on that day, sending large amounts of money to the surviving relatives like it was a game. Like hell, it's a letter from the dead. This is a desecration of the dead. I was once again convinced when my family died on that island that day, they didn't go to heaven. They're being trapped by the witch even now and are being desecrated and tormented for all eternity. Wait, what? So you mean to tell me your family isn't dead? That they're just trapped? The last place Ange visited was a store in the region between the housing district and the retail stores, with a signboard saying Marufuku Sleep Shop. Sleep shop? What? There lived a man who had been the boat captain of the ferry boat to Rokkenjima at the time. Even he, who had once lived as a man of the sea, had retired after contracting a serious illness and was now taken care of at the house of his son and his son's wife.
よく覚えてる。
Captain Kawabata. Oh, we got more. Great, more NPCs. Captain Kawabata, an old man who used to captain the high-speed boat that went to Rokkenjima and back. It is beyond doubt that it is of the existing survivors. He is one of those who know the most about Rokkenjima. From various comments by the servants who used to go to him from the island, the media hoped that he might be quite knowledgeable about the internal affairs of the Ushiromiya family. However, he would say nothing, and so they eventually began to forget about this old man. Well, good. At least he doesn't. At least he's keeping that shit to himself.
あんた、まだこんなに小さかった。立派になったな。そして、さぞや辛かっただろう。
No kidding. I'm pretty sure I told you that story the whole early.
お前さんの気持ち、よくわかるぞ。
The former boat captain, the former boat captain, was in such high spirits that you couldn't really tell why he had retired in the first place. His memory seemed clear too, and he could remember the events of more than a decade ago. Well, apparently, even about how Ange had been at the time. The way he chatted on was very helpful for Ange, but at the same time, he also remembered the final family conference very well, and the fact that he remembered even details like Battler's fall madness. Like that fall madness. On the boat was actually painful for her. It had been so back then as well, but even now, there was no public way to cross to Rokkenjima. It was necessary to make an individual request to an owner of a boat to make the voyage. I had been unable to arrange for a boat to Rokkenjima, so if he refused me, such a voyage would probably become hopeless.
わかってる。
ん？
今、あの島に行きたがる船なんぞ、簡単には見つからんだろう。
Isn't there like... Oh.
今じゃ六軒島と呼ばず、古い名前の悪食島と呼ぶものまでおる。
Akujikishima.
この辺りの船乗りじゃ、首を縦には振るまいな。
Wow. I guess the sailors don't even want to get involved in this nonsense. From the start, fishermen had feared Rokkenjima as an island of misfortune, and because of that incident 12 years ago, this fear had reached a peak. They respected the sea, feared it, and revered it. There were almost no sailors who would try to take a boat to the cursed island. Because of that, most of the witch hunters were unable to cross over to Rokkenjima, and were limited to taking a trip around the island. Ironically, this had caused the sense of mystery surrounding Rokkenjima to increase even more, which had resulted in the propagation of the bizarre witch story they loved so much.
船は出してもらえるでしょうか？
Wow. Well, that was easy.
明日だけ返してもらう約束になっとる。最近はエンジンがだいぶご機嫌斜めらしいがな。かっ飛ばしてやるわい。
The former boat captain promised that tomorrow he would go back to his previous job and take his boat out to Rokkenjima. Now, my method of transport to Rokkenjima is insured. This is probably all I can do on Nijima. All that's left is tomorrow. On Rokkenjima, I'll reach the final destination of the journey that stretches back 12 years.
よかったね。これで島へ行けるようになったね。
Finally, the real journey. It's like the real journey to find actual treasure for Rokkenjima, to find out everything.
そうね。船を見つけるのは難しいと聞いていたから、船長が協力的で助かったわ。
Yeah, I'm surprised. Normally it said like former boat captain, or like means like he already retired. But
エンジェ様ほどではないにしても、船長にとっても12年前の事件は未だ抜けないトゲなんでしょうね。
ウリュウ、船長さんも心の整理がつかなかったんだね。ずっと。
そりゃそうでしょう。約束通り10月5日にあのじいさんが船を出してくれれば大勢が助かった可能性がある。ちょっと風が強いからといって船を渋らなければ。
ウリュウ、そんなこと言っちゃダメだよ。船長さんもそれを今日までずっと苦しんできたはずだよ。
yeah, now's not the time to be a doubter about it. Apparently, they truly had been right in the middle of a typhoon on October 5th. According to the boat captain, he had known for certain that they'd be trapped by the typhoon if they headed to Rokkenjima on October 4th. But the family had been very persistent about the date of their conference, which had been determined beforehand. It was only natural. All of the relatives had been very busy at the time, and they came to the family conference only after arranging their schedule beforehand. It was probably a situation where they couldn't easily push it back to the next week just because a typhoon was approaching. It wasn't the boat captain's fault, but perhaps you could say that he wasn't so irresponsible that he could place the blame wholly on the typhoon. Yeah, well, natural disasters are kind of BS in my opinion. Can't be helped. Certainly, just as these two said, there's no doubt that the boat captain has been dragging the events of 12 years ago along with him this whole time. And by taking me, the last member of the Ushiromiya line, to the island, and bringing me back safely, he might be trying to find some resolution for his past.
船は昼過ぎに帰ってくることになってる。それからあんたを六軒島へ案内するから、到着は夕方前になるだろう。 電気も明かりもない島だ。あまり長いはできんぞ。その程度の上陸であんたの気は済むかね。
No words.
長い舌から何かの気が済むというものでもありませんし、船を出してもらえるだけでも感謝します。
Yeah, just a little bit of sightseeing, Surely, nothing that ridiculous or anything like that.
うん。すまんな。わしが船を手放していなければ、ケチなことを言わず、好きなだけ島へ案内してやれるんだが。
It's not like I have a goal of doing something in particular on Rokkenjima, so I'll be there during the evening. The evening, which straddles two different worlds of day and night, seemed almost like a borderline between this world and the next, or possibly 1998 and 1986. And it felt like the most fitting time to visit Rokkenjima. It's not like I have anything in particular to do there. Just staying there for a few hours should be enough for me to find some closure. At that time, there was a small knock on the paper sliding door, and Amakusa stuck his head in, tapping his watch. I nodded back and told him about how I had succeeded in reserving a boat for tomorrow.
それはよかった。
Yes, it's great news.
そろそろ参りましょう。船長、明日はよろしくお願いします。
おう、任せておけ。お前さんたちの難儀な事情も聞いとる。わしも当時のワイドショーを見ていて、面白半分に事件をかき回す連中に虫唾が走っとったもんだ。協力は惜しまんよ。
ありがとうございます。それでは明日お昼に。
No. At least the middle-aged captain is he's okay for a side character.
これ船代に。
He's like, yeah, here's the money for the boat. Ange took a wrapped wad of 10,000 yen bills from her pocket. The boat captain should have noticed his thickness as well, but he paid it absolutely no interest and shook his head.
わしはお前さんに感謝しとるよ。これは天のお導きだ。あんたを六軒島へ連れて行き、そして無事に連れ帰る最後のチャンスをくださったんだ。わしは金蔵さんに任されていた最後の仕事を今ようやく終えることができる。だからあんたには感謝してる。金は当時の金蔵さんからたらふくもらってる。あんたから取れんよ。
Oh. Ain't that something?
ありがとうございます。
And thus
階段
ends-
足元に気をつけてな。急だぞ。
Steep. Well, you already know how stairs work. I went down the steep staircase that was the exact opposite of accessible. It was getting hard to believe that there was actually a chest of drawers and a TV in the room upstairs. Most of the first floor was a bedding store with many futons piled up on each other. We weaved our way through the cramped futon shop. After cautiously checking around outside, Amakusa dashed out first and started up the car.
孫の部屋が空いとる。泊まって行っても構わんのに。見ての通り、布団なら有り余っとるぞ。
See, got plenty of extra food. Well,
ありがとうございます。
as much as I want to stay, however, we got some other stuff to do.
万一の時、ご迷惑はかけられませんので。
事情は知らんが、相当な厄介に巻き込まれてるようだな。
Yeah, well, yeah, tell me about it.
うさんくさい連中が人探しをしていると噂になっとる。
Yeah, seems like it.
あんたのことじゃないのかね？
No words.
さあ、
Yeah, who knows who it was. Ange played dumb, but it looked as though the boat but it looked as though the boat captain had guessed.
わしは六軒島を目指す客人を送り届け、そして迎えに行き、連れ帰ることが仕事だった。その仕事を12年前に中断したまま、まだ終えてない。だからわしは、あんたのおかげでその仕事をようやく終えることができるんだ。だから、わしにその仕事を終えさせてくれよ。わかってるな。
ええ。別に私は死にに行くんじゃない。
But part of me does feel that if I could die on that island, I'd surely be able to go to where my family is. I've finally become aware of it. I might have been planning to die on that island. I might have come all this way, heading towards Rokkenjima in search of a place to die. The boat captain had guessed that as well. That's why he repeatedly told me not to die.
ええ、死にません。約束します。そもそも私、どうして六軒島に行かなくてはならないのかの目的さえ、未だにあやふやなんですから。
Well, I ain't getting, man, this dialogue right there, though. See, I always feel like Anji would be like top 5 for when it comes to like the characters of Umineko, because this is like a one of those moments with uh, when it comes within the pity meter, you know. If there's any reason why.
いや、目的はきっとある。あんたにないなら、それは彼らにあるんだ。
There is one for them.
島があんたを呼んだ。
The island calling me?
だからあんたはここまで来たんだ。
そうかもしれませんね。私は呼ばれたのかもしれない。
I was called. For what reason? For them. Father, Mother, Badler Oni-chan, and Maria One-chan. Or maybe the Golden Witch, Beatrice. What is on Rokkenjima, and what will I achieve? Even though tomorrow is finally almost here, I still haven't been able to understand my own mission. There was the sound of a car stopping in front of the store, and a short honk could be heard.
それでは明日、失礼します。
Oh, good talk. Winding between the stacks of futons in the cramped store, I was about to go outside. Then my feet stopped.
どうしたね？
あれは？
あれ？はて。
What?
何の話だね？
I don't even know what's going on. Can't tell if it's something strange or something terrible going on. Trembling all over, I pointed at it. But no matter how much the boat captain squinted, he noticed absolutely nothing that direction that should have surprised me. That must mean that must mean
ありえない。
what?
どうして。ウリュウ、エンジェ、どうして。どういうことなのこれは。
私にだってさっぱりだわ。そんなバカなことってあるの？これは魔法なの？
Magic.
奇跡なの？ええ、多分これは運命よ。私は今理解したわ。これが私の使命だったのよ。
ウリュウ、私には何が何だか。
Fate to be destined? Shaking, I pointed into the thin darkness inside the store and froze up.
どうしたんだね。何があるんだね。わからん。わしにはわからん。あんたには何が見えてるのかね。
ありがとう、船長。全部これは運命だったんです。ここに私が訪れることさえ運命だった。これが私がロッケン島へ行く目的で使命なんです。
エンジさん、どうしました？トラブルですか？
わしにもさっぱりわからん。お嬢ちゃんが暗がりを指さしたまま固まっちまったんだ。
エンジさん、大丈夫ですか？何が見えるんですか？
あなたたちには見えないの？それよ、それ。見えないの？
見えるのはただの陳列棚です。
What is that? What did she see? Like well, it's not telling me what it is, but I get the feeling some sort of spiritual ally, telling her that fate is to be destined or something.
誰も言いやしませんぜ。
ウリュウ、エンジェ、僕には何が何だかわからないよ。これは夢なの？魔法なの？どういうことなの？エンジェ。
Sakutaro lifted his face towards Ange. From her eyes slid a single tear.
エンジ様。
理解したわ。お姉ちゃん、そしてベアトリーチェ。
ウリュウ、
This is magic, isn't it? Is this magic that is opening up her emotions?
テストって。
Oh, we're back in this chapter. We're back in 1986. The final family conference. It is Saturday, October 4th, 1986. 2300 hours.
よく聞きなさい。
A test. Well, this is a good time to end it from here. Holy moly. We have made quite a bit of progress there. So, aside from that, next part. Let's see how this will go with the two groups, especially with the test. Oh boy, this is gonna be a pretty dicey one, ain't it? Oh well. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys later. Have a good one.